like to call tonight's regularly scheduled council meeting to order. Let the record reflect all council members are present, except for James Mayberry, who's no longer with us. Before we start all our meetings, we'd like to begin with a prayer followed by the presentation of colors and pledge of allegiance. We do ask everyone in attendance that you would please stand and remain standing for both. At this time, I'm going to have prayer done by Mr. Ralph Reagan with Bread of Life Rescue Mission, and then again we'll have the Young Marines do the presentation of colors.
Father, first of all, we thank you for your grace, your good God, and we just love you for being so merciful. And you said that we're going to pray for the one, the authority that's over us. So, Father, we pray for each one of the members here of the City Council. And we ask you tonight to let the Holy Spirit give the guidance and the directions for everything that comes through this place tonight. Lord, when we all leave here tonight, everyone can leave expressing in our heart that everything was done according to your will. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Marines, attend hood. On the half step, forward, march. Mark time, march. Detail, halt. Right, this. Post. Present arms. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ready, two. Left, face. Forward, march.
Before we get started, Councilman Mike Turner asked just for a few minutes to address council.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to read a little history for FYI of Crossville's water supply. In 1938, October 1st, Crossville started on a 5-mile pipeline. Crossville, October 1, more than 100 WPA men are shoveling and swinging picks. This is by hand. Swinging picks digging for a 5-mile line from Meadow Park Lake. The pipe will bring Crossville's water supply. Present for the beginning of the work, and some of you here may remember some of these people, I'm sure do. Members present for the beginning of the work was Mayor T.M. Rector, Commissioners Mose Dorton, L.T. Thurman, City Judge Lawrence Barnett. I don't know, the police chief must have been called a marshal then. City Marshal Arthur Mathis. The material for the pipeline will cost the city $42,000. That was a mint. That's 1938. And for a filter plant was $15,000. WPA labor will amount $28,000 to begin a total of $42,000. I just want everybody to remember that piece of history from October 1, 1938.
Okay, thank you. We're going to get into public comment, but I am going to ask without any refusal from council to suspend Rule Section 1, Rule 7 regarding limitations of public comment time period. I want to go ahead, if you will, without denial from council, to go ahead and suspend that rule for this meeting so to make sure everyone gets heard. Okay, we'll now move into public comment. I know many of you have filled out forms, but if you're still wishing to speak, there are forms both back there and up here with the city clerk that we just asked that you fill out so we have a timestamp and be able to submit for the records. Also, there will be a 3-minute timer to allow for you to speak to council. That timer will go off. All that I ask is that you do your best to try to wrap up your thought. Also, this will not be a back and forth between you and the council, but I can assure you those council members will be more than happy to speak with you further of any issue or discussions that you want to have after the meeting. and then we'll go from there. So, first up, in random order, we've got Dylan Romero.
Good morning, my name is Dylan Romero. I am coming to you today for the flock cameras and bringing to attention the illegality of these cameras. Two things that I wanted to bring up to you. One of them was our federal Constitution, the Constitution of the United States of America. This is our Fourth Amendment. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated. Noted, not be violated. And no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. This is in reference to last week's meeting when someone decided to bring up state law for someone trying to de-annex their property. But this is, they wanted to bring up the state laws for why they could not do a de-annex from the Crossville city taxes. And this is something I wanted to bring to your attention. This is in Article 1 of the Tennessee State Constitution. This is Article 1, Section 7, that the people shall be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and possessions from unreasonable searches and seizures, and that general warrants whereby an officer may be commanded to search suspected places without evidence of the fact committed, or to seize any person or persons not named whose offenses are not particularly described and supported by evidence, are dangerous to the liberty and ought not to be granted. You are in violation of the federal Constitution and the state Constitution by hosting these cameras under government control. These cameras need to be taken down, and at some point or another, you guys will make a mistake with these cameras and you will be sued. I'd like to close there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Next up, we have Roger Romero.
Yes, that was my son. Thank you for having me here. And since we have been speaking, I guess we have talked about a few of the same things. So I will try to alter a few things so you're not hearing it a second time. But again, thank you. I was in the Air Force. 31 years retired from law enforcement. I both swore in both cases to uphold and defend the Constitution from foreign and domestic enemies. Not to take away from anyone else that is speaking on any of the surveillance in a positive or in a negative light. The surveillance, we could speak about that all night long, right? But I don't have a problem with them doing so, and we should do that. But please think of yourself as a servant of the people, as a protector of rights. We the people's rights, and a God-given rights. So those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserves neither liberty nor safety. Benjamin Franklin spoke this during the founding of this great country. And if you look up United States versus Jones, it was a GPS trespass case. And in that case, they argued the building of a comprehensive movement history of the vehicle constitute a warrantless search, since they were building that history on a vehicle. So at least 82 cities
and in 28 states have canceled their surveillance tools. This is getting much attention from national radio, and local Congressman Tim Burchant from Knoxville. Get a daggone warrant, if you've ever heard him. That's his quote. Currently, Bill H.R. 8900, Protection Against Mass Surveillance Act, was introduced by the congressman, and that was last month. Tennessee Constitution, as was already stated, just to specify, the general warrant was the thing that was always complained about. Even in the founding of the country, they didn't want the Bill of Rights. You wanted the Bill of Rights because it needed to address the general warrant. And in this case, we're not even issuing a general warrant. And as we know, it should be a specific warrant, right? To address who, when, where, what, all the details. And in a general warrant, that would be a fishing expedition, and that's what we're doing right now. We're on a fishing expedition, and that shouldn't be. So that ought to be dangerous. At current, this is being done without even the general warrant. So in Tennessee, the Fourth Amendment provides that our vehicle can be viewed as an extension of our personal home. So certain protections also go with your vehicle. Don't California or China or Tennessee. And when you treat everyone like a criminal, some would call that a prison, and I don't wish to live that way. And as far as the water district, I don't think outlying areas should have to pay extra for whatever's going on within the city. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Next up, we have James Cole.
I'm James Cole. How you doing, RJ? My concerns here, I've lived here all my life, 54 years now. My concerns are the data centers coming in. I know they're pushing them countrywide, and they're pushing them like the vaccine, and it concerns me. Not for me. I've made my bed. I'm going to lay in it, but for my grandchildren. The water consumption concerns me. The data centers we have in place are first in line from our water sources. And my concern is when our water sources get depleted, and they will get depleted, are the citizens going to be rationed, or are these data centers going to be rationed? And I was working in Puerto Rico I was over there for 9 months, and they now have 11 data centers over there. And today they are rationing their water because their water sources are depleted. I know we've got one here in town right by the water department, and one going up out on Plateau Road, Catoosa, right off of their water center. And like I said, it really concerns me for the future of my grandchildren. And I think before adding any more, you guys need to come together and set your hearts right on this, because we're a small town and we don't need big city problems. And I would also like to get information on the first contract for the existing data centers, the first city council meeting, and if that is public knowledge, and if it's not, why is it not? Because it affects everyone in the community. It's, our water is a economic commodity, and that's really concerning. These things just going up, and without the concerns of the citizens being heard. And I'll rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Next up, we have Jenna Walls.
Hi, I'm Jenna Walls. I'm a city ratepayer, and I'm also Catoosa ratepayer. And in June, the council took action to raise my city rate 25% to $7.85 per 1,000 gallons. Catoosa's already at that rate, and that wasn't changed. I'm not here to whine about that. I know that the state guidelines precipitated this move, and I don't have a problem with it, even though I don't use 2,000 gallons of water and pay nearly $15, but that's okay. I have been looking for the CPWA customer rates, and they're not readily available online. In the paper, I know that this rate increase affected a contract for them and for the other utility, but by raising, I think, their rates to cost 25%, in the paper it said that would raise their costs by $5.71 per $1,000. The math means that they would be paying $22 per 1,000 gallons. I think that's probably an error. And perhaps it was supposed to say it would raise their cost to $5.71 per 1,000 gallons. If that's the case, they're paying, I'm thinking, $4.57 per 1,000 gallons at the current time, but I don't know that for sure. They also noted that their rates, their planned rate increase for the following year would bring their cost to $7 per 1,000 gallons of water, and I don't know where that rate comes from. But at any rate, I'm here just to ask a question. And the question I'd like to ask you, because I know you're going to be reconsidering this contract and the impact, to what extent is this body asking the ratepayers and the taxpayers of Crossville to subsidize CPWA costs? And those costs include the cost of water, but they also include the cost of the extra layer of bureaucracy that the state imposed on this area when it created CPWA. So I think that's a question that you, as you reconsider this, that you should keep in mind. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Alan Sizemore.
Got some papers for y'all, if that's all right.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, name's Alan Sizemore, here about the flood cameras. I want to clear up a misconception first. These are not just license plate readers. Flock has something called Freeform. It's a search of camera footage by description, including people by clothing. Their own marketing example is a man in a blue shirt and a cowboy hat. You can find that on their website. Crossville has not published whether Freeform or any people description search is turned on here. We have not seen who can run these searches, which outside agencies can query our plates or monthly use reports. To the best of my knowledge, the city has offered no transparency on these cameras. I've had to file multiple TPRA requests myself. One of them I've been waiting on for a month. This is now the third time I've addressed this council, and just to recap on what I've spoken on. Documented misuse and stalking by the people we trust to protect us. In Oshkosh, Wisconsin, where Flock's pitch to city council included statements that weren't true. They canceled the next day. Flock CEO calling people who want to know where these cameras are domestic terrorists. Live stream and portal exposures where ordinary people could just open a link and watch with no protection whatsoever. Wrongful stops and arrests from bad hits in this product family, including cases where guns were drawn. Victims who rightfully sued the hell out of the city, sometimes to the tune of millions of dollars, which puts the liability on the taxpayer and the voter, and an ever-growing number of municipalities that have canceled or refused to renew for the same reasons. Because we don't have meaningful transparency, I can only work from what's public. The only start date we've seen is from the 2022 quote, which is August 26th. The quote is not a signed contract, and we don't have the renewal clause in the open. I know you all ain't going to vote to remove the cameras before the renewal date. I get it. You've got other issues going on, like this water price thing and the gentleman who wants his property to be de-annexed. I've done government work before, and I know nothing moves fast in government. That said, I've got one single request. I'm asking you to vote today, before we leave, that this contract cannot auto-renew. Any renewal has to come back for an affirmative council vote. If anything, over these past 3 times I've addressed you all, I hope I've adequately demonstrated that the use of these cameras merit meaningful public discussion and debate, not something to be rubber-stamped in silence. Thank you.
Next up, we have Randall Kidwell.
The following is a portion of a news article titled, "Problem with Utility Districts in City May Be Over." The legal action over the failure of Cumberland County Mayor Brock Hill to approve mergers between 2 county utility districts and the Crossville Water Department may finally be over. The Crossville City Council voted to accept a settlement offer from the South Cumberland Utility District that includes a payment of $25,000 to the city for legal fees and other expenses related to the merger. In exchange, the city would withdraw its pending motion to clarify and allow South Cumberland's voluntary dismissal of the appeal filed against the negative decision by Hill to merge with the city to stand. The issue has its roots back almost 4 years when the city and South Cumberland had plans to merge to make a water district that tied the city with both South and Catoosa Utility District. A petition was filed with the county mayor, who denied the petition for the proposed merger. This ultimately led to a lawsuit requesting that the denial be overturned. The city and Catoosa went on to merge using a different method, and that marriage appears successful with lower rates to customers and extensions of water lines in high gear. Councilman Earl Dean described the whole issue as having, quote, put a bitter taste in a lot of people's mouths, unquote. He added, quote, I'd like to see it go away, unquote. Mayor J.H. Graham said he felt, quote, the merger would have been a good thing for South as it was Catoosa. The merger could have benefited the entire community, unquote. Councilman Boyd White said he didn't appreciate the way South Cumberland handled the merger and their withdrawal from it, but he added that things have improved with the recent signing of a 10-year water sales contract with the utility district. This is from the Crossville Chronicle, February the 15th, 2007. That's the beginning of what you guys are talking about tonight. Crossville again made the offer to South Cumberland in March of 2018. Councilmember J.H. Graham made the motion to begin merger talks. The motion received a second from Councilmember Danny Wyatt, and the motion was approved unanimously. I would remind you that in 2005, when City of Crossville and Catoosa merged, customer rates dropped 40% immediately. For 21 years, the people of South Cumberland could have been enjoying a 40% decrease in their water rates just like Catoosa. And frankly, so could have West Cumberland's customers. You see, folks, this was never about the customers or water rates. It's about who controls water. The state, through the county, has decided that they wish to seize that which they did not create. It's sad to say, but Cumberland County and their CPWA is not ready for prime time. For heaven's sake, Cumberland County can't even maintain its roads, just ask me. Heck, I'm thinking about starting a GoFundMe account just to fix my road. to the Crossville City residents and taxpayers on November the 3rd, 2026, vote no on the referendum that would allow city government to give away our water resources to the CPWA. And I want to answer the lady's question. They have 3 different water rates within the CPWA, and they're pretty extreme. I've got them. I've updated them in March of this year, and I've got them as of July 1st, and I'll be glad to send them to you. Thank you.
All right, next up is Craig Clark.
My name's Craig Clark, and I live at 2266 Highway 68 in Crossville. I'm a resident of Homestead. Now, I gave this talk at the work session just a week ago, but I'm going to reiterate it for this whole body. As a resident of Homestead area, I am a water ratepayer for the city of Crossville Water, and I pay more for water than those living in the city limits. I am told that I pay 50% more, and that the ratepayers in the city than the ratepayers in the city limits. This difference is a potential problem for the city water department. Therefore, the plan was to increase the water rates in the city by 25%. To be closer. This resulted in the proposed 25% increase in wholesale water contracts with other utilities. This directly impacts water ratepayers in the former South Cumberland Utility District across the southern portion of Cumberland County. I have recently been elected as County Commissioner for District 3. Which includes many water customers impacted by this wholesale water increase. I believe the rate increase is arbitrary and capricious in nature. I therefore request an audit of the cost of operations of the city water department. This should be done independently by the state and be specific to water production only and exclude any other city operations. Now, we're told that the 25% increase was applied to wholesale water as an old practice, but wholesale water must be cost-based only. I truly hope that this was only a mistake and not intended to poison the well, so to speak, in the merger with CPWA. A regional approach to water challenges is our best hope to provide for growth and in demand and bright future for our whole area. Thank you.
Next up, we have Asa Reese. Asa Reese, I don't see you. That brings us to the conclusion of those that have pre-registered. Is there anyone else at this time that wishes to address council and public comment? This is your time to speak to us. Okay, we're going to go ahead and close public comment. We do not have any appointments. I would ask the chamber president to come up and give the Chamber of Commerce report.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I'd like to draw attention to an event happening just over a month from today on September 12th, the Crossville Birthday Bash, 125th birthday of the city of Crossville, something that can bring us all together. The website for that event has been launched, and so if you want to take your family, if you want to take your boyfriend, girlfriend, etc., and have a great day downtown to celebrate something that is common to all of us. There will be over 70, closer to 80 vendors that have signed up right now, so lots of different things to see and do. 3 bands playing throughout the day at the amp behind the courthouse, and it would be a great time for all. So CrossvilleBirthdayBash.com for that. Encourage everyone to come out and help us celebrate what a great city we have. Thank you.
Thank you. We now move into the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I move we pass items 5A through D on the consent agenda. We discussed these last week in our work session, and we heard from our department heads and city manager. So I move we approve.
Motion is to approve consent agenda items 5A through 5D. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Any council members wish to pull anything for further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. That brings us now into other business. Item 6A, discussion and action regarding the annexation. The owner has requested that we pull this item indefinitely at this time. And so without objection from council, we will pull that on behalf of the owner. Now 6B, discussion and action regarding approval of contract with H2O Innovations for membrane filtration system at Meadow Park Lake Treatment Plant. I think the city attorney wishes to address this first.
Just very briefly, we have been discussing this matter as late as just a few minutes ago. We would ask that that be moved and placed on the 18th work session. Mr. Curley's going to be making a presentation at that time, and about a 10-minute presentation to demonstrate the need and the purpose of the contract.
So move to the September 18th work session, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
August?
Next Tuesday? Oh, September 18th. August, okay. Next Tuesday.
Oh, okay, sorry, yes. Okay, without objection, are you guys fine with us moving that then? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. 6C, discussion and action regarding wholesale water rates. Would anyone else like to kick us off? Any council members? If not, I'll go ahead and bring it up, and I'll take the blame on this, that's okay. My initial comments to council and to then the finance director, to the finance director was to do the 25% increase on just in-city rate payers due to the requirement to make sure that our fund balance was appropriate from state guidelines. I did not realize that it would also trigger our contract agreement with wholesale rate payers, which would also increase them. I wish us to consider just sticking to the 25% for inside city and not apply it to the outside wholesale payers, which would then bring them back down to $4.71. Would anyone be willing to have that discussion or make that motion to start?
I will make that motion.
I'll second it.
So the motion is to bring the wholesale rate payer rate back to $4.71, but keep intact the 25% increase per state guideline recommendation for city rate payers, inside city rate payers. Is that fair for you, City Clerk? We good there? We have a motion second. Since you made the motion, Councilman Grant, any discussion or comments?
No, I agree with you. I mean, we were, in my case, I was hyper-focused on on what we were doing with the Crossville water and sewer rates, and the wholesaling price was not even anywhere. It didn't think in with me, so I apologize as well, but hopefully we can correct it.
Since you made the second, do you have any comments?
No.
Okay. Councilman Fox, any comments, thoughts?
Couple thoughts, please. I guess this is mainly a question for the city attorney. Since my understanding is at least, since we have a contractual point that dictates that, is there any contractual amendment or change that needs to be made rather than just a council motion?
So I think that with council motion, you can modify by both parties' consent, and obviously South Cumberland or now its successor would want to do that. So I think that you can do that by mutual agreement. But this contract's been in place for 20 years now. It comes up for renewal at the end of next year in December of 2027. And the history is that every time that there has been a rate increase of the city, there's been a corresponding rate increase with those other localities. But I think that the council can do that without any problem. Did that answer?
It does. I just didn't know if that had to be something that had to be an ordinance or a resolution rather than just a council act.
I think a resolution would be the appropriate way to move forward.
I guess what I'm getting from that, piggyback off your question, is this would then trigger the next step of doing a resolution. Is that fair to say? With this being potentially the first reading of that resolution? Is that right?
Resolution, you only have one reading.
Fair enough.
We have an ordinance.
So fair enough to say that this motion then would serve that. Fair enough? Okay, just want to make sure we clarified that.
And I think, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Just to keep it clean, we may want to prepare a resolution for Tuesday and vote on it then with the new rates. That way we have something in the book and to give to the water department for billing.
Still, this needs to be voted on with.
And then I can prepare and then next week it could be approved.
Okay. You two made the motion. Are you amicable with that? And then city manager, you have?
Yeah, the previous rate was $457, not $471.
Sorry, I did the math
Just
wrong.
wanted to get that correct in the motion.
So it is $4.57. It would be rescinded back to that amount. Okay. Appreciate you. All right, everyone good with that?
I got another comment or two. Just to be clear, one of our speakers stated that our city rate increase proposed a rate increase for the wholesale rates. I just want to clear up that that was not a proposal up to this moment. That has been a contract fact. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. I just didn't want to make clear that that slid in without something being there that justified and prompted that. So, okay.
That was amicable to the $4.57. 57. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. City attorney's report.
We've been working on a number of things that are in the works, some of which have been continued with the police department. We'll have some resolutions in regard to forfeitures and those kind of things. But I did want to attack speak to some of the comments in regard to the block cameras. I don't look at these individuals like they are domestic terrorists like has been commented on. Frankly, I think I would look at them like if they were alive 200 years ago, I'd be in there with them throwing tea over the ship, probably. There's some cases that obviously comment on this, and I wanted to share that with you and with the crowd. There's a case out of Ohio, and Ohio is part of the Sixth Circuit. And the Sixth Circuit is the federal system that is one step below the United States Supreme Court that somewhat controls our legal principles. And this case is United States versus Sturdivant. And it's important to note that this case said that as it related to flock cameras, that there is no expectation of privacy in a license tag. There's a doctrine called the plain view doctrine, which under Tennessee law requires that the license tags be displayed and be open to the public. So the complaint, I assume, is that they can follow where we go. Here in Crossville, there's approximately 50 municipalities in Tennessee or more that are using flock cameras, as I understand it. But here in Crossville, the flock cameras are license tag readers only. I have met with the police department, and before any officer can request something from one of these cameras, they have to be certified on the system. So they're given a test and they pass the test. Only certified officers can request that. So there is some level of control.
Now, when a request is made, then there is, as of now, there is a corresponding docket number that is assigned to that request through 911, and you can see exactly what the request was about. So somebody can't be calling in saying, I want to know about my brother-in-law, my sister, or my boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever. It's got to be tied to a legitimate question. These have been used, originally the state indicated that these were not subject to open records request. That law had a sunset provision that expired on July the 1st, and now those are available. The law requires that the records be available for 90 days. The city of Crossville has access to these for no more than 30 days. So it's a short-lived time period. If something comes up, then they can scan those, they can ask for those readers about a license tag, and the court has sanctioned that. There's not a constitutional expectation of privacy or a violation of that. So I compliment these folks for their concerns, and this case I read said anytime you have new technology, you always have to balance that against the expectation of privacy and the individual's rights. But this time, I would respectfully say I think they're a little bit wrong on it, but I certainly appreciate the fact that they're concerned about it. Thank you.
Is that it? Okay. Next up was the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Regarding sales tax, while sales tax collections statewide were down 1%, we were able to actually maintain our sales tax same as last year, actually increasing by $3,000 or $4,000. So I think that's a good indicator of how strong that our local economy is. So I wanted to point that out to you. Fire Station 1 update, it is still in the design phase, and we're scheduled to receive those plans for review on October the 5th. Also, this is the year to lower Holiday Lake, so those that live around the lake will be receiving notices at the end of September, and the lake will be lowered from November to March. And then lastly, I'd like to remind you about the Citizen Request Portal. If you see a pothole or a street light or sign or anything like that, please report it to us so we can fix it. Thank you.
That brings us to the conclusion of our agenda. Can I entertain a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Good night, everybody.